Hi, everybody. Carl Killo here with Get Sorted, Live Free. You know, sometimes we look at things in the world that just seem a little bit unfair. And it's interesting that a lot of the answers for why that is have been around for a long time. We just have to look back at what people thousands of years ago knew and actually study it a little bit. The Bible is a great source for some of this information. Let's take a look at the Matthieu Principle. To those that have, more will be given. From those who have not, everything will be taken. Pretty rough. Let's dig in. So the story is Jesus trying to relate to his disciples just what the kingdom of heaven would look like. Here's what I get out of it. The kingdom of the kingdom of heaven on earth, the closest thing that we can get to it is if you follow the tenets that Jesus lays out. What's he trying to tell us here? For it is just like a man going on a journey. So he's trying to tell us what heaven would look like. Just like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted them with his possessions. So if you own a house and you have servants that take care of it, you are trusting all of your stuff to them. And you're going to go off and you're going to not only entrust your house to them, but you're going to entrust your investments with them. We do this all the time in the real world. We give our money to people to invest. We entrust people with coming into our house or our apartment when we're not there. We hire people and expect them to do a good job for us. So, this master is giving his servants a responsibility. Now, a talent is not some measurement of ability. A talent is actually an amount of money, and it's a lot of money. I've read that it's somewhere around 20 years worth of labor. So, this man is giving his most trusted servant 5 talents. So that's like 100 years worth of this guy's labor. That's a lot of trust. And he's giving it to them according to their ability. Another two to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent. So even the guy that only got 1 talent, that's still a big entrustment. That's still, well, entrustment is that the right word? That's still a really, really big responsibility that he is giving even the man that just gets 1 talent. Each according to his own ability. So the guy that got 5 apparently has some special skill. The guy that got 2, a little bit less skill. The guy that got 1, maybe the least amount of skill, but still enough to be entrusted with something pretty big. I mean, 20 years worth of labor in money form is something else. The man promptly went on his journey. The servant who had received 5 talents went and put them to work and gained 5 talents more. So this guy went out and doubled his money while his boss was gone. Likewise, the one that had 2 talents gained 2 more, so he was able to do the same thing. But the servant who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. Strange thing to do if someone entrusts you with quite a bit of money. Now, of course, this is a parable, and there could be lots of meanings to that. I don't think he really went and dug a hole and stuck the money in the ground, but what it probably meant was that here's a responsibility, because the money it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It can be a responsibility, it could be money itself, it could be trust. And so what are you doing if you're burying someone's trust in the ground? Well, you're ignoring it. You were not treating it with the dignity that it deserves. You were not living up to your responsibility that being entrusted with that amount of, well, you're not doing the job that is expected of you, we'll put it that way. So the servant had received 1 talent, went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of these servants returned to settle accounts with them. So boss comes back and says, hey, what'd you do? The servant who had received 5 talents came and presented 5 more. And he said, Master, here's what you trusted me with, the 5 talents, and look, I used it, and I got 5 more. And the master said, well done, good job, Pat. You've been a faithful servant in a few things, and I'm going to put you in charge of many things. So trust has been proven, and notice that the amount returned back to the master was double that of what was invested initially. And you're going to see that repeated in the second servant too. When the servant who had received 2 talents also came and said, hey, you gave me 2 talents, well, I gave you 2 more. He put in the same amount of effort, even though he'd been entrusted with less money. The master replied, hey, good job. Here's more responsibility. Thank you for working hard for me. Enter into the joy of your master. And finally, the servant who had received 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew that you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So in my fear I went and hid your talent in the ground. You see, you have what belongs to you. And the master has an interesting reaction. You wicked, lazy servant, replied his master. You knew that I reap where I do not sow, and gather where I have not scattered seed. Then you should have deposited my money with the bankers. In return, I would have received it back with interest. Hey, that's the least you could have done. So this master is quite upset with this servant. He didn't do what was expected of him. And he gave a reason why not. The servant justified why he didn't do what was expected of him. Therefore, take the talent from the third servant and give it to the one who has 10 talents. Ooh, pretty rough. Don't do your job, you get fired. For everyone else who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. But the ones who do not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And throw that worthless servant into the outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Pretty rough times. Why is this such a harsh story? Well, here's what I think. The things that we should pull from this is the contrast, of course, between the first 2 servants and the third. The third servant was not expected to produce on the same order of magnitude as either of the other servants that had been given more resources. But he was expected to do something. But rather than do something, the third servant found a reason to not work. He pointed at something other than himself and found reason not to work. And the master knew this. What was the servant's reason? Well, I know you exploit others, right? That's what that statement means. Master, I knew that you are a hard man, reaping where you have not sown. That means he's taking from things that he has not put any effort into, and gathering where you've not scattered seed. The servant sees his master as unworthy. He's resentful and bitter. He doesn't like the fact that the master has more, and he thinks it's unfair. He thinks that the only reason why the master has more is because he's a jerk. And so, of course, he's bitter and resentful, because he's looking for reasons not to fix himself. The third servant should be looking at himself going, man, why don't I want to work for this guy? I really don't like this dude. And yet I'm going to remain in his employment, waste all of his time, and then tell him about it when he comes back. What other response could he possibly expect other than, "Why are you working for me, you lazy thing? You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed, and you decided to work for me anyways. And then you come and offer me excuses. That's the best you got? No, you're out of here. You're fired. You're done." Pretty rough. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. So what's the third servant probably going to do? Well, he's going to be all bitter. He's going to be resentful. His exact excuse for not working is going to be replicated and put right on his head. Oh, you think I'm worthless? Don't work for me. I need people that are going to work for me. Stop wasting our time. And so the third servant gets fired. He's out on the street. And he's going to feel sorry for himself. He's going to gnash his teeth. How many people do you know like that? It's never their fault when something bad happens. They get fired from their job. Never their fault. So what questions can we get from this? What can we answer? Well, how should we judge the success of others? Each according to their ability. The master was smart enough to recognize the ability of those that worked for him. The boss said, "Hey, you're my best employee. You get the most responsibility. Here's 5 talents." That's a lot of money, a lot of responsibility. And sure enough, he gets rewarded. What should we expect from others? What should we expect back? Well, exactly that. We judge people by their ability. We give them an opportunity to do something good for us. Do they live up to our best estimation of their abilities? If they do, pat, pat, good job. Hey, thanks for the hard work. When should we be harsh to others? Well, when you get a demonstration, like the third servant. The third servant wasted his ability. It's not like he didn't have ability. He was still entrusted with an awful lot of money. It sounds like it's not so much because it's small compared to the responsibility of the others. Was it an important job? Yes. Was the job done? No. Did the servant waste his master's time and his money? Yes. Did he deserve to be treated harshly? Yeah. Get it together, man. And then the servant comes back with exactly that, just excuses. Why didn't he work? Decided his boss was a crummy guy. And who wants to work for a crummy guy? And that's a pretty good point. If you're somewhere and you're working and you're bitter and you hate the person that you're working for, are you going to do a good job for them? Oh, hell no. You're going to be pissed off and resentful, and you're going to hate your life while you're there. And you're going to find every reason to do your job about as half-assed as you can. Does that feel good? I know when I've had jobs like that, they just eat me up on the inside. They suck. How should we reward those who we trust? Well, exactly the same way the first and second servants got rewarded. More responsibility. You proved yourself. You get even more responsibility. And with that comes more reward. And why not? How should we punish those who find reasons not to work, even though we've been entrusted with them? Well, you kick them on out the door. Because you can't have people wasting your time like that when you've got things to build. And they deserve a little wake-up call. And hopefully they'll start to look inside and see themselves and what they can change. Now, of course, that's pretty harsh, and not everybody has the ability to even do very minor tasks. This is the unfortunate reality of the world that we live in. There's some people that are better than others. And I don't mean better moral character. I mean, there are people that are taller than I am. There are people that are stronger than I am. There are people that are smarter than I am. But do I spend time being resentful to the people that are? No. That gets me nothing. What would get me something? Working hard and being the best person I can be. Now, I think we all understand that I'm going to have some upper bound that I'm going to ram my little head into. Maybe that's the best person that I can be at that point. But I'm going to keep trying to walk up the path. And as long as I'm demonstrating that, then I have faith that I will be rewarded. Maybe that's the right way to look at the world, and I think that's what this story is trying to tell us. Now, this bit about bitterness and resentment ties all the way back into the really ancient story of Cain and Abel. And if you remember that story, Cain and Abel both offer up sacrifices to God, and Cain's is rejected, and we're not told why. Abel's is accepted, and Abel gets all sorts of goodies. And how does Cain handle it? Well, even after being chastised by God, and nobody likes to be chastised, and told the right way to behave, instead Cain chooses to become bitter and resentful, and he goes and takes it out on Abel by killing him. This is the ultimate betrayal of humankind. Rather than look inside, you find a reason to hate others. You were shown the way to fix something, and instead you decide to go on the attack because it couldn't possibly be your fault. It's a tough lesson to learn, and I struggle with it all the time. But thank goodness it's probably with me. I can fix me. I sure as heck can't fix the guy down the street, or that poor man on the street corner. But I can look inward and see where my faults are and where I can improve. And that's the story. Look inward. When the world starts throwing you for a loop, there is a solution. The solution is inside. Look in your own heart. So, that's going to be it for today. Hey, take a look. My ebook's coming out soon. It's called Rules for Routine. It's a great way, nice little bits that you're going to be able to use to establish a routine for yourself, because when you hit those hard days, you really want to have a routine in place, so you just get up and you go by rote. You go automatic on those days when you're just like, oh man, I don't want to get out of bed. Well, I'm going to give you a way to get up and get out of bed and get over that nasty little hump in the morning. I know sometimes that's hard to do, especially when you're trying to establish something new for yourself. So check out getsortedlivefree.com. Go on there, sign up get on my email list, and I'll get you a copy of that book as soon as I get it all proofread and out. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the channel. Please go on my YouTube page, give me a subscription, give me a nice like on here, get on my email list. The more you help me out, the more I can help you out, and that's the name of the game. Thank you so much.